Hey everyone, I am live according to Andrew, and welcome in this afternoon to my home office in Lyons, Colorado. We're right out that window. It's snow. We had a great spring snowstorm, and also right out that window is the original Oscar Blues. I am very excited to be presenting to you each today, and this is a topic that frankly has multiple talks during this conference, and it is a great opportunity of a world. And so I'm excited to be investing my professional time into helping craft brewers navigate this space. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and thanks for joining me. What I also want to let you know is I can't see the chat if I am presenting through my one screen, so I'll pop back in once in a while, but I cannot see the chat. So forgive me for not responding right away, but I will pop in. So what's the deal? What's the deal? Why is this such a complex world? Direct-to-consumer sales, it can mean in-state, right? Fulfilling direct to consumers, or it can mean out of state. And I'm going to focus on a lot of the big picture and the strategic approach. And my desired outcomes from this is getting you guys and friends on the page of strategic thinking towards this world and arena. I see craft brewers taking a lot of cues from restaurants and how they have been doing to-go sales and delivery. I also want craft brewers taking a lot of cues from wineries, because pre-COVID even, wineries in the US had the right to literally ship to 45 states. That is an incredible number, and that was pre-COVID. Craft breweries at 13 states now and counting. So it's still a bit of a brave new world and a new revelation to ship out of state when you talk about that component of direct-to-consumer sales. But hey, hashtag thanks COVID for that. Got to find the bright spots. I was paying attention to this space before it really started to pop. The catch is it's nobody's job, right? I'd be surprised how many breweries say they have an online sales manager, or how many breweries, have a technology sales manager. It really isn't anyone's job at breweries. So that's another tough get. And it's complex because of that, because it lands in a lot of areas instead of under one area of responsibility. Lots of tech, right? Marketing, operations, fulfillment, compliance, and the technology behind the scenes. So that makes it very, very complex. You've got inventory management as well. And there's often no formal goals for the online sales. So if breweries are going to invest in it, what I'm seeing is you guys did the best you could to get through a crazy COVID year and into now 2021. But there really wasn't an approach in the beginning necessarily for building a online presence for direct-to-consumer sales with goals. It was more so survival and just getting your foot into the waters. So let's talk about the difference between e-commerce and DTC. You guys probably have seen this in multiple places. E-commerce is the big concept of, website and app sales. Anything really goes under e-commerce, and DTC is a part of that. DTC ties to ship sales directly from you as the producer, right, to the customer using a third party, as I said, either in-state or out of state. And so are you a specialist as a brewery in e-commerce? Probably not. Are you a specialist in DTC? Probably not. But some of you really are engaging in this space to become those specialists. I could have done a big ass word cloud on so many different buzzwords that are surrounding the whole space of e-commerce and DTC. And in part of demystifying it, we've all had the journey of, we remember the first time we heard a certain concept, right? Click and collect. The first time I heard that was when Danielle and Nielsen were presenting for the Brewers Association in their most recent collab hour. And that click and collect concept of shopping, when we are going to go, go to the big behemoth Amazon, and then actually Whole Foods, and click through what Whole Foods has at my local Whole Foods and get it delivered 2 hours later. That is incredible, crazy click and collect example. I can either go pick it up and they have it all ready for me, or I click and they collect it for me and deliver it to me. Another buzzword that I'm hearing a lot of, and I really want to see craft brewers get into this space. The hotel industry is very involved in this, and hotels are in a similar situation with access to market. If you think about it, look at hotels and selling direct, right? If you book through a hotel's website, it's the most revenue for that hotel. It is direct with that hotel, but hotels also have to list their inventory on Travelocity, on Booking.com, etc. Similar situation, except for the alcohol component, certainly. But hotels have been using for years now predictive personalization, where if I go to a hotel website, there's tens of thousands of websites for hotels now that can recognize me as a previous customer. Then they will be able to predict what I'm more predisposed to purchase. That is an incredible concept, and I am excited to be involved behind the scenes in seeking out technology solutions that will bring that technology to beverage alcohol websites, particularly craft brewers. And then on this slide, you've got so many other things. QR code stands for quick response, has become super big. It's much easier to generate a QR code now. That on-premise QR code presence is a really big deal. And you have the overall arching concept of SaaS, software as a service. And that is everything that you guys are already investing in that you are getting help with from behind the scenes on your inventory management to on site for your on-premise technology solution. Those are software as a service, and you are best served to take demonstrations from as many as possible. And this is a world where I see the allied trade, who frankly helped bring craft brewers to canning, who helped bring brewing equipment on a smaller level from the mass industrial size side of things. Now the allied trade is bringing technology to direct-to-consumer sales and e-commerce for craft brewers. And it is an incredible symbiotic relationship that craft brewers have with the allied trade that supports them. So my background, I'm coming to you as your former craft beer program director at the Brewers Association, laid off with a third of the workforce in 2020. And I now am in the entrepreneurial space. And so I relate to craft brewers, right? You have so many titles, you eventually just hang your hat on, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I am a brewer, but I'm also a business owner and an employer and so many other things. So in my work to grow and advance craft brewers, I really did behind the scenes for years prior to COVID. I was paying attention to DTC. I was saying that wine had give or take 2 to 3% of sales for wine was direct to consumer, but it was such a tough nut to crack until COVID. And now the door is open for breweries to think, I don't just have the opportunity, the temporary opportunity, which hopefully remains permanent, to ship direct in state, but also now in double-digit states and growing. So what are my marketing philosophies? And I encourage you to consider this. You as the producers, you're the guide, you're the guru, you're the coach. Your customer is the hero. And so, classic Donald Miller brand marketing is that you as the authentic guide and coach and trusted authority, the brand, will guide your customer, who is the hero, to a better place. What problems are you solving for your customer? And that has to do with what I'm going to talk about when it comes to website sales, e-commerce sales. If you make it difficult for them, you're not solving anything. If you make it easy for them, you're solving a lot. So position yourself in your mindset as your website is the portal for you as that guide and the authority. And the experience in that website, you want it to be as seamless and painless as possible. So let's talk about innovations real quick and just setting the stage for some of the strategic suggestions that I'm going to get to. I want to make sure that you guys remember, back in Prohibition, breweries, right? They had to shut down 1920 to 1933, but some stayed open. They produced malt extract, they produced ice cream, they produced malt balls. Those innovations for products were sitting there before the situation presented itself. So wow, that is pretty interesting to think about that was sitting there. Let's talk about the other component, right? You've got the aspect of hand sanitizer. That Manufacturing facilities as brewers had the opportunity to produce hand sanitizer before COVID, but the light bulb didn't go off until COVID. Same with as much as what we're seeing now with the opportunity and the rights and the privilege to do DTC and delivery. So I'm going to just jump into the chat. I see Puerto Rico. I see Sweet Tea. Hey, no snow in North Carolina. I agree. And so I'm going to jump it back and make sure we keep cruising on what I want you guys to kind of consider. So anyone needing ammunition for direct-to-consumer investment, right? Because it's nobody's job, because it's complex, here are some of the numbers. And direct shipping, frankly, via common carrier, which would mostly be out of state for breweries, say via UPS to those 13 states, that's 13%, according to the Ship Compliant Brewers Association 2021 DTC report. We're using it, but look at, 70% of you said you would use it if it was legal. So there's a lot of momentum there, and the ammunition is strong. If anyone needs that, present the data. Food and beverage is now the #1 consumer good online department. What? Really? Health and beauty? And I got this slide thanks to Nielsen and their data, looking at e-commerce, food and beverage. Anyone raise your hand if you actually get delivery? Do you guys get delivery for food and dinners? I would imagine many of you do. And so I think that's really relevant because we're used to doing that now. And let's look at DTC. The point of this slide is to show you the average price for orders was $36. And really, not a huge booming business, but that $3.7 billion for DTC in 2020 for wine mostly was from small producers, right? The larger, more advanced producers on the brewer side and the winery side, they are not going to engage in DTC as much. They are going to hand it off to the retailers that are so heavily invested in as partners. Small brewer side, you're scrapping to get distributor attention. You're scrapping to get retailers to carry you. You have every right reason and, almost a responsibility to look into this space as access to market. So one of my last data slides to share, this is from restaurant takeout delivery, Nielsen data, vodka #1, fascinating. Craft beer right in the middle, right behind domestic non-craft, which I was happy to see. But brandy, oddly, 11%. I certainly think craft brewers can up their game if craft brewers concertedly act like DTC specialists and start to treat their websites as web stores. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. Another data slide real quick is the movement for diversity and inclusion and having the beverage of beer, not being tied to a gender, not being tied to, one type of individual. And multiculturals are definitely, at least especially on this slide, showcasing that everyone's inclined to be purchasing online. And there's a lot of opportunity and growth in every sector of persona. So another one of my philosophies, the realtor model. Why do we see the realtor's face on our calendars that they mail us, on their business cards that they hand us, all over their websites and their ads for house sales and listings? It's because familiarity leads to confidence, familiarity leads to comfort leads to confidence leads to sales. And I show this in most of the talks I give. And so how much confidence do customers have when they're at your website? So let's talk about it. The website is branding. It's like a brochure online. It presents the brands. But if you really turn the trigger and start to think about the e-commerce avenues through your web platform, it's a store. It's about sales. It's about selling the brands, not presenting the brands. And I've been to thousands of brewery websites. And we're slowly seeing more and more breweries start to sell the brands on the website instead of just present them. So think of your website as a web store. Think of your homepage as the entrance to that store. You are not just in charge of a website. So to the strategic suggestions, let's go ahead and talk tech stack. So you're going to talk to many people, and I am presenting myself as a direct-to-consumer strategist. And in brewers that I'm talking to, and in other solution specialists that I'm talking to, and breweries too, everybody has their technology stack. You know, one scenario might be an inventory management system behind the scenes that tracks all of your inventory. Then it talks to potentially your on-premise sales solution model, which also then streams through your website. And then you might have an out-of-state sales solution that's another technology solution. And all of these eventually are going to integrate. It'll take a few years, but you're going to see technology solutions start to integrate, and that's important. You know, my thumbs get a little tired even just looking at this slide that I created for you. Your customer, we, us, want as few clicks as possible. Sure, we love going down the rabbit hole to explore certain things, but if we're going to explore, that's okay to click, but once we're ready to buy, as few clicks as possible. So it's really important in your websites to think about the experience that you're delivering to your customer. Are you delivering positive vibes like so many of you, 8,700 of you, deliver craft brewer wise to your customer in your tap room and at your brew pub, right? How does that positive vibe and experience carry over to the actual website feel? And so one thing I want you guys to think about is a website really is a marketplace, right? It is a much more wide swath of a marketplace as opposed to the old style island website that, you know, Travis from Bev shared with me. He has a statistic that 90% of people never make it to a restaurant website. That is an island of a website. Instead, if you treat it as a marketplace, you're not only going to build technologies into that marketplace that showcase your brands and present them and sell them the best, but you're going to invest in marketing that marketplace behind the scenes with SEO and SEM work, right? Search engine work and wording. And so that's really the approach that you want to consider. And so I'm going to go ahead and, you know, hover on this slide for a minute. What motivates online purchases? I think that's a really interesting question. And if you think about how you purchase your web purchases, right? The best price is what often motivates me. Also, what motivates me is online reviews. Online reviews can be carried over to brewery websites. You can capture. Go to Stag's Leap's website, the winery. They are capturing online reviews that are positive and putting them up as static content at the point of purchase for each brand. You can generate online reviews, and that helps. Are you going to go for best price on your website? You can definitely have sales, and you certainly should. But I'm going to say the ninja power of craft brewers is that limited, gotta have it brand. The biggest thing about craft brewers is your beers are not accessible in every market, at every retailer, in every store and location. That limited gotta have it is what you can use to motivate online purchases as well. All right, going back to my deck. Loyalty. This is an actual screenshot, by the way, from my cell phone at my local grocery store in my town, I said, of Lyons, Colorado, not even 2,000 people. And our local grocery even, right, has a loyalty discount membership. It's $10 every few months, and then you get a 10% discount. So you guys, you breweries, I want to challenge each one of you. Go to one of your local wineries and see how they approach you in the wine tasting room. From the moment you get there, are you part of our loyalty program? Okay, great. This is the price to sample. This is the price to purchase. Would you like to be a part of our loyalty program when you do purchase and leave? And that captures the email, it captures the credit card, and it also accounts for cell phone identification often that you are in that loyalty program. So customers can showcase that they are through a membership card and know how to get back to you online or on premise when they are back to show you that they are part of that program. Let's take a look, and hats off to Total Wine. You know, they continue to rock it. This is their homepage. If you go to Total Wine, and some of these tips and techniques certainly can be applied to brewery websites. The search is what we're all about in how we purchase. How we search is important. So I want you to be tagging your brands in as rich a way as possible so people can search in a variety of different ways. They also have a rewards program, right? Rewards programs are being offered through many of the software as a service technologies that I'm seeing, but rewards is key. tied to those loyalty programs. There's many other things I could point out on this website that are familiar to you, right? Is it recognizing the customer that you are from what location? Very, very important. And then also showing what's popular, right? Sometimes when I go to a website, I don't know what I want to buy. A lot of websites assume that I already know what I want. That's not the way to approach online DTC sales. You want to guide the customer to ways to discover and find what they want, and then also encourage them to treat me sales that would, upsell them to even additional purchases. So getting to a little bit more of a tactical type of approach, this is a snapshot from Hickory Farms, believe it or not, capitalizing on California craft beer. When it comes to craft beer, nearly every town in America has at least one brewery. But when you look at a map of where craft breweries are, they're pointing you to California. And this is their basket with food bundled with the beer. Why not create pre-packaged, bundled with fun brand names as their own brands, product offerings for your web store? So you're bundling food from area vendors, you're putting your chapstick that you have your brand on and merchandise in there, and you're upselling them, and you're creating opportunities for gift occasions and the like. And if you have loyalty programs and you capture somebody's birthday, you can prompt them, or you can prompt them for Mother's Day, Father's Day, all of the holiday occasions. And then before somebody buys just a simple beer or a six-pack, at the checkout, you can prompt them, would you like to add this on to your order? All these things are not new. They're things that we're used to seeing. But what about this? I don't know if you can hear the sound on my screen, but augmented reality is coming. Augmented reality is an interactive style of product display that is enhanced by digital methodologies. And the 360-degree view. What I want is eye candy on every store for any brewery that I'm assisting that allows the product to be shown in 360-degree view. This is possible through custom programming, and we're going to slowly but surely see some of the technology vendor solutions that are software as a service also start to get here. But it is way overdue. We're used to seeing this for shipping, shipping of shoes, furniture, other foods and items. We should absolutely get to that eye candy for beer, and craft brewers have that opportunity. So just a few muses, and I'm going to hover here, and I want to make sure that you guys have a chance to chat about anything. But on the concept of anyone that I'm working with these days, I'm asking them, what is the percentage of your on-premise sales, right? And then there's a breakdown from there. What is delivery? What is to go? What is from just purchased and consumed on-premise, etc.? What's distributed sales? And then what percentage of your sales is through your web store, your website? And then let's talk about the percentage of on-premise, off-premise to repeat customers. Are you able to identify that? Are you paying attention to the predictive personalization technologies out there? These are huge things to answer. And once you get these three, by the way, then you can start to set goals for your online sales. And then you have a return on investment on what you're spending to build your web store or enhance your web store to bring back and enhance and increase your overall bottom line, right? Investing in these technologies and eye candy and all sorts of important bells and whistles that are another component of your sales cost. But you can justify that cost if you actually can reach goals that start to show you a bump in sales. So it's something to really consider. And then the guest check average. This is something Tony Simmons from Pagosa Springs Brewing in Colorado is an amazing advocate for. What is your guest check average for your tap room or your brew pub, right? And then what is your shopping cart average for your website? Are you calculating that? That will help you set the goals. That will help you invest justify building a more robust website that's a web store instead, and take advantage of technologies. And then shopping cart averages will increase once you give us as the customer the type of website that we're used to shopping with other types of consumer goods and packaged goods. So I'll hover on here. We're at almost a half hour, so I think I did pretty good. You can use this UPC code to go straight to my website and get my checklist for what I think you all would want to pay attention to when building and updating any new website. So ping me there. Just take a snapshot of the screen. Also, too, the types of offerings that somebody like me has come in many different ways, because it certainly can be overwhelming. So I would encourage you to talk to as many people, demo as many technology solutions as possible before you pull the trigger. And reminder in summary, make it somebody's job at your brewery to have them build your online sales and give them the authority to be able to do that, so they can get everyone on board. And then overall, your entire team will have a lift and an increase in sales. And that's all I got. So looks like I'm still live. If anyone's still there and wants to chat about anything, you're certainly welcome to ping me direct. I don't see any questions at the bottom, but I'm going ahead and scrolling through. Give me a second. Bell's brother, welcome. Go Colorado Springs. All right, now I'm starting to see some questions. I'm going to scan through a few, and if you're looking at DTC sales through your website, you may want to consider ClickFunnels, DropFunnel to build your website. So there's lots of vendor suggestions. I love seeing that, John, and keep them sharing with each other. Obviously, Craft Beer Professionals has a very robust Facebook group, so that's great. And I think I've got some others already seeing liquor store inventory on their website. Yes. Actually, at the bottom of this thread, sorry. Why is wine so widely available for interstate commerce, but beer isn't? The lobbying side was there. That's why. Lots that I wouldn't be able to touch into on the regulation side, but wine definitely went after that space. And it took them more than a decade to get to those number of states. Some states flipped quickly when the wine lobby started to work on it. And others, now they're 46 states. They haven't flipped the switch on the last 4. So beer just was not lobbying behind the scenes for that type in a way that was a concerted effort that moved the needle in a broad way. All right, new comments. How many hours a week would you say is the average for someone to handle the DTC sales? I think that's a really good question. And first of all, when I say make it somebody's job, it needs to be in their job description. So you would want to put a percentage of their sales or their time to managing those sales and the technology to support it, and then the content updates to support it. If a brewery is going for it, the amount of time has to do with the amount of fulfillment as well, and how many new products is the brew house churning out that then you have to populate onto your website or pull from your POS system that already has that information uploaded. So I do not have a tangible answer to that, but I would have a formula if I got a sense of the brewery's goals on how to better answer that. But it's definitely going to be as little or as much as the brewery wants, but depending on success, more hours is going to be more sales. Can you speak on some examples of how breweries are marketing their DTC and or e-commerce activities? Great one from anonymous Facebook user. Let me give you an example on that. I talked to one brewer who is shipping out of state with one of the technology solutions out there. And they said they noticed if they were not putting ads on Facebook and Instagram, 10-second looping animated ads that literally said, here's our beer, why you want to buy it, something catchy from the eye. When they placed those, they saw its increased sales. When they didn't place those on the weeks that they didn't, on the weeks that they did not place those, they did not see sales. So the point is, and I could go back almost to that island picture, your brewery website is an island. If you turn it into a web store that's more marketplace, part of any marketplace is not just assuming customers will find you that are your regulars, but it's going after new customers. So the answer is you want to spend on SEO, search engine optimization, and search engine marketing counseling and concerted effort for the content. And then you also would do well to invest and have a budget in advertising through social. How much did DTC permissions expand for the pandemic? That's a just general question. It was just 10 states with Washington, D.C. in the mix. So we've had a few states bump up from there since the pandemic, but not broad reaching. You could also, and that's out-of-state shipping. So for in-state shipping, you could also kind of think about the fact that most states and marketplaces now, most, not all, do have direct-to-consumer to-go and delivery. So exponential on in-state DTC delivery, not so much on out-of-state DTC shipping. And I think with that, I'm going to take a few sips of water, leave you guys adieu, be in touch. HerzMuses Enterprises, Herz, opposite of his. I hope to have a beer with some of you soon, maybe in the fall at the Craft Brewers Conference. Be well, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and remember to think of your website now as a web store. Peace out.